Welcome to Catholic Messenger Conversations podcast. Today, our conversation celebrates the arrival of Bishop Dennis Walsh as our new and 10th Bishop of the Diocese of Davenport. I'm so grateful that you've agreed to be a regular conversation partner, and we're looking forward to exploring all kinds of stuff, all kinds of topics. So meanwhile, let's get this conversation rolling. Bishop, when did you get the call? Can you just tell me about that, what that was like as you're getting this call? You're a priest in the Diocese of Toledo.
Sure. I was doing, it was a Sunday afternoon is when I got the call. I was doing a Spanish Mass. We were doing First Communions for our Spanish community in Delphus, Ohio, where I was pastor. After the Mass, I went up to my sitting room, sat down, and the phone rang. Didn't recognize the telephone number. I looked at the call log, and the person had called several times on Sunday morning. So I just answered the call, and it was the papal nuncio. So it was quite a surprise. I was actually expecting a call from a Mexican priest, the Redemptorist Provincial, who was considering sending two of his priests to work in the Diocese of Toledo doing Hispanic ministry, and that was the call I was waiting for. So when I heard the nuncio with his very thick accent, I assumed that it was the Mexican priest that I was expecting to talk to. And so I answered the phone, and I didn't catch his name, and I said, "Yes, I was expecting your call." And then that's when he said,
been surprised.
So then the nuncio said, "No, this is the nuncio." And as soon as he said, "This is the nuncio," I knew what the call was about. I mean, there's no other reason that the nuncio would be calling me. And I had a feeling at that point what the call was going to be about. And then when we started our conversation, he said, "The Holy Father has appointed you to be the Bishop of Davenport." And I don't remember much of the call after that. I mean, I expressed my gratitude to the nuncio, and we talked about 6 or 7 minutes, and at the end of the conversation, he just said, "I have to ask you officially, do you accept the appointment?" And I told him, yes, I do. So
Did you have any idea when you? I mean, because I'm sure it was a shocking call, but Davenport. Did you think, where the heck is Davenport?
No, I knew where Davenport was.
Okay.
I had been to Dubuque. I was in Dubuque
okay.
several years ago with my niece and nephew and my sister at
okay.
the water park in Dubuque. I had been to Clinton. I had a friend who was in one of the shows.
On the Clinton Showboat?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
So he was a performer in that, and I came out with his family, and so I had been here twice before.
Oh, that's cool. Oh, that's great. I didn't know about the Showboat. That brings back memories. So okay, so you got this, and you had to process it, right? How did you? So you got the call. That was back in what?
June 9th.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so how did you prepare? I mean, what was going on? I mean, so you were ordained here on September 27th. So what happened in that meantime?
Right after the call, it's a difficult 3 months. It's so right after that call, you can't tell anyone. I mean, it's all under what's called the pontifical secret. And I am not allowed to tell anyone. The only thing the nuncio told me is that I should give my own bishop a call, because he already knew about it by that time. Said, "Give your bishop a call." But before I did that, I received a call from Archbishop Zinkula. Archbishop Zinkula called me to congratulate me. Then I received a call from Father Ken Kuntz, who was the administrator of the diocese. So he called me right after that, and then after those phone calls, then I called the Bishop of Toledo and gave him a call. And as I said in my installation mass, the Bishop of Toledo, Bishop Thomas, he answered the phone, and I heard voices in the background, and then he hung up on me.
I think that's so funny.
Which I thought was a mistake, so I called him right back, and the second time it went right to voicemail. And
that's funny.
So I didn't know what to do at that point, but he was in a place where he couldn't talk. He was in a public place. He was talking to others, and he couldn't talk to me just because of the nature. He knew what the call was about, and he called me later that evening, and we had a conversation. And Bishop Thomas was very, very helpful in laying out for me what needed to be done. So he checked in on me quite a bit when I wasn't allowed to tell anybody. And so there's about 3 weeks when I was not allowed to say anything to anyone. So it wasn't publicly announced until June 25th.
Right.
So it's tough that you can't process emotionally with your friends
Right.
in those situations. But Bishop Thomas checked in on me a couple times during those days.
Can you share one of the funny stories, I think, that you shared about what he did for you or what he provided you with?
Oh, sure. So, I mean, the priests of Toledo were on convocation. That's why there's so many days between my appointment and then the announcement. The priests of Toledo were at a convocation, and we do that every 2 years. And we didn't want to announce my appointment during the convocation. Initially, the nuncio wanted it announced in the middle of the convocation, and we just pushed him back a little bit. And then the following Saturday was the ordination of a new priest, and one of the priests being ordained was a seminarian that worked. I was his supervisor during his pastoral internship, and I was vesting him. So we wanted to wait till after the convocation and after the ordination before it was announced here in Davenport. So in the convocation, no one was allowed to say anything. The Bishop Thomas and I met a couple times during the convocation to kind of chart a path forward in terms of finding someone to do my coat of arms and all the things. And I asked him for a pectoral cross and a zucchetto, and that's something that as soon as you're appointed bishop, you are expected to wear. And I didn't have a pectoral cross, and I didn't have a zucchetto. The zucchetto is the sort of the fuchsia beanie that a bishop wears. And in my room, so I had the zucchetto, and I had the pectoral cross, and then he also gave me a green and gold, it's called a cordone, which holds the pectoral cross under your vestments and everything.
Oh, okay.
So all that was laying out on my bed, and there was a binder from Deacon David Montgomery. He sent me a confidential binder about everything in Davenport. So all that was in my hotel room at the convocation. So the priest that was going to be ordained, Father Jacob Levecki, he said, "I have something to give you." He said, "What room are you in?" And I said, "Well, I'll just come out and meet you," because I had all this stuff laying out and no one's allowed to know. He said, "No, I'll just come to your room and give it to you." And I said, "No, I'll meet you. I'll meet you at the registration desk." He said, "No, just tell me what room you're in, and I'll just bring the book down." And so I said, "Okay." So I gave him my room number, and I'm throwing everything under the covers so that nothing is sitting out. So
that's funny.
I was writing an email to someone. I think Deacon David Montgomery by that point about some questions, and so I shut the laptop so nobody could see what I was working on.
Oh, that's so funny.
So yeah, it was a nervous time trying to maintain the pontifical secret.
And I think you also were allowed to tell your mother, right?
So I received the call on June 9th. The next day, we did not set a date yet in terms for the public announcement.
Uh-huh.
So the nuncio called me back on the following day, on Monday, and I was at my mom's. Generally, Monday was my day off, and I would always spend
okay.
usually lunch with my mom. And I was talking to Mom when the nuncio called, and I jumped up and went to a back room so Mom couldn't overhear the conversation.
Uh-huh.
So I asked the nuncio. I said, "Can I share the information with my mom?" And the nuncio said, "Well, you can trust your mother, right?" And I said, "Yes, I can trust my mother. She won't tell anybody." He said, "Then you can tell your mother." And so I told Mom. So I told Mom. He said, she asked me, said, "What was that all about?" Because she saw me jump out of the chair and go to a back room. I said, "Well, Mom," I said, "Pope Francis has appointed me to be the Bishop of Davenport, Iowa." And she was shocked. I mean, her reaction.
What did she say?
She said, "What?" I said, "You?" And that was it. So it was. She had a whole mixture of emotions. I think she was crying and surprise and shock, and really the transition time was as difficult for her as it was for me. So.
Wow. Oh, my gosh. So were there any other special preparations you did? Did you took a retreat? What was that like?
Sure. The parish I was in is kind of a complicated parish. So the first thing was to find a replacement for me. So I actually had 3 parishes and a large school. So I was head of school and pastor of 3 parishes, and one parish was quite large. So administratively, it's a very difficult assignment. So finding a replacement was going to be difficult. So to help in the transition, Bishop Thomas asked me if I would stay as pastor until September 5th, which is a long time to remain as pastor in these types of situations. So I agreed to stay till September 5th. So after September 5th, I had a very abbreviated time of transition. So I left that day on the 5th and went to Mundelein Seminary, which is just north of Chicago, did a retreat, and then after a 5-day retreat, then is when I arrived in Mundelein. And I was in Mundelein, or I was in Davenport only for 2 days before I took off for Rome for what's called the annual course, formation course for new bishops, affectionately known as Baby Bishop School. Yeah. So I went there for that formation course.
Tell me about Baby Bishop School. What was that like?
It's a remarkable time. So there's about 140 bishops in our group. There's actually 2 groups of bishops. One is from the developed nations, Europe and parts of the world that are more developed. And then there's another group of bishops from the Dicastery for Evangelization that have all the mission territories. A lot of bishops from India, Africa, Asia, South America, all these missionary bishops. So there are 300 bishops overall. Our group was about 140. We shared 2 days together in conferences. So the picture in the Catholic Messenger that was published was a combined presentation to both groups of bishops. But what's remarkable in the formation course for new bishops is that you see the universality of the church. You just and the situations that other areas of the church face are very different than our own. You have a church in Europe that is very much in decline, and you have these missionary dioceses where the church is very much alive and getting all kinds of conversions into the faith. And again, we have our own situation here in the United States. So everybody has different pastoral concerns and situations that they're facing. But you get a sense of the universality of the church. You also get a sense of the real sacrifices that other parts of the church are under. As one bishop shared that, he faces in his diocese 1,000 people killed every month from acts of terrorism and violence in his diocese. We have bishops who are parts of Syria where there's war going on, and other parts of the world where there's violence and conflict, and you hear their story, and it's a remarkable experience to be able to hear from that the church is very much universal and very much international, and it really is an extraordinary thing to witness.
Wow, that's just amazing. What was your impression of the other new bishops you met during formation? Were they all like just trying to feel their way, blind leading the blind, or what?
I was the only non-bishop there. I was not ordained a bishop yet. The nuncio called me and wanted me to go before my ordination. So I was the only one who was not ordained. Everybody else had been ordained sometime in the last year. So their experiences were very much different than mine. I had no idea what I was getting into, and they had some experience already at that point of what it was like to be a new bishop. But it's there's certainly a type of person that Pope Francis is picking to be bishop. I think he's looking for very pastoral men. I think he's looking for people who understand where the people in the church are and the difficulties that they face. I think he's very much looking for a very pastoral bishop, and that's the sense I get when you looked at all the other bishops who are there, of who they are. They're just ordinary priests who love the church, and that would probably be the common denominator. So
that's very cool. And is that how you would describe yourself?
I think so. I mean, I think I'm very pastorally oriented, and Pope Francis in our meeting when we met Pope Francis he shared, as when he was a priest for all these years and bishop, he said, I've always found a way to get people where they need to be and meet people where they are. And he said I've always found a way. And I would say I feel very similar about myself. I've always been able to find a pastoral solution to help people in difficult situations.
Oh, that's wonderful. And I was wondering, what did you say to Pope Francis when you met him?
No, there wasn't a lot of time. I basically I told him in Spanish. He doesn't really speak English very well, so I told him in Spanish that I was going to be ordained the following Friday. So I just asked him to pray for me. He came to our meeting. He was about an hour and a half late to our meeting, and then he answered questions for about an hour and a half. It was a very informal time. He was very relaxed, and bishops just went up to the mic and asked questions of the Holy Father. So by that time, it was time for our one-on-one encounters. It was we were already there 3 hours at that point, and he was watching his watch at that point. So I think it was probably time to go. I just asked him to pray for me as I'm going to be ordained the following week. I mean, he didn't say anything. He smiled, and that was it. But he's a remarkable worker. When you look at his diary, I think we got there about 10 o'clock into the Clementine Hall, and you look at his diary. He was meeting people already at 7 o'clock.
Oh my gosh, 7 o'clock in the morning?
In the morning. So he'd already started his meetings, and I'm told he gets up at 4 o'clock in the morning every day. But so when we were waiting the hour and a half when he was late, I mean, there were other people who were coming out of another audience room, just kind of filing out of their audience with the Pope. And he had been meeting with a lot of people already that morning before.
I imagine that would take a lot of energy just to be on.
He struggles walking though, and he did walk into the hall. In most public encounters, he's in a wheelchair now, but he did walk in. And very informal, and it was a great time. So.
Oh, that's great. Who gave you the best advice in preparing for your ordination to the episcopate?
Well, I would say Bishop Thomas in Toledo was really a great mentor for me in the process. I don't think there's a lot of people who know what it's like, can relate to the experience of being asked to do this. I mean, a lot of time, or most of the time, through the transition period, the question that I've had for myself is why me, and how. It amazes me that my name could survive the whole labyrinth all the way to the Pope's ear, and for him to eventually say Walsh. That is very humbling, really. When you realize the extraordinary, complicated process that is involved in choosing a bishop. But so there aren't many people who can really relate to the experience. But I would say Bishop Thomas of Toledo was a tremendous mentor during our convocation before it was announced publicly. We spoke probably 3 hours. We would meet in the evenings of our convocation, and we would meet and talk about a motto. What's going to be your official motto, and what's going to be? He gave me a name of somebody who could do my coat of arms and all those things, and so he was just extraordinarily helpful. But again, there aren't many people who have faced a similar situation that could really give constructive advice.
Is there one piece of advice that really sticks out in your mind? I mean, I'm sure he gave you several different.
Well, Bishop Thomas is a pretty prayerful man, and I think. The advice that he kept telling me was, "You were chosen for this. Don't forget the fact that this is God's will, and that God has chosen you for this task."
Right.
And he said, "Don't lose sight of that." So, and again, it's all very humbling.
Oh, that's wonderful. Now, what scriptures did you choose for your ordination liturgy, and why did you choose those scriptures?
I'd say the only one that was that I really wanted was the Hebrews reading, the second reading.
Okay.
It's the whole line about beset by human weakness, right? So it's and that's always resonated with me. And I remember it's one of the first conferences when I went to the seminary in 1983. The seminary rector gave a conference, and I just remember the use of that scripture passage that priests and bishops are ordinary men who are beset by human weakness, and it's really Jesus Christ that gives us the strength to be able to be His ministers in the church. So.
Oh, that's great. So I imagine you pray. I mean, you make sure that you're making time every day, several times.
I do. I probably pray now more than I did before. So I would say, as a bishop, my prayer life is much more constant than it was as a priest. I'd say, as scheduling wise, it's easier to maintain a regular schedule.
Yes.
As a bishop, I mean, there's not as many sacramental obligations that I have as bishop as I did as a priest. So there's certainly more time it's easier really to schedule a time for prayer in the morning, a time for prayer in the evening. I probably schedule about 45 minutes in the morning and 45 minutes in the evening. But as a priest, it's not always that easy. And as a priest, you have mass obligations, you have weddings, you have funerals, and also the administrative responsibilities. And so I'd say as a priest, it's far more difficult to get a regular schedule than it is as bishop.
Do you think you'll miss that? I mean, that whole aspect of you're going to be doing a lot of administrating, I imagine.
Yes, I am going to miss. Again, people ask me, well, what's the best thing about being a priest? And I said it really is about witnessing the sacred moments of people's lives. It's about the baptisms, it's about the funerals, it's the weddings, and all those things. So it's always a joy for me as a priest to be able to be invited into the sacred moments of individuals' lives and into the lives of families, and not to be part of that anymore is difficult. So as a pastor, I was invited to everything, invited to confirmations, First Communion luncheons, and wedding receptions, and funeral luncheons, and all those sorts of things. And those are the things that bring joy,
Yeah.
I think as a bishop, you have to be almost more intentional about finding life in the community. And right now, I am accepting almost all the invitations that are thrown at me in terms of I'm playing euchre in someplace in the diocese in a couple of weeks.
Oh, that's wonderful.
And I'm getting invited to stuff, and I'm just very intentional about accepting those things. So.
Oh, that's great. That's wonderful. And then I was wondering, just briefly, could you describe that experience of being ordained as a bishop? What that was like?
I don't get nervous very often. However, I was probably pretty nervous during that time. I just trying to get through the liturgy is a nerve-wracking time. But I would say at the Litany of the Saints, where I'm laying prostrate on the ground, was a very relaxing time. So at a time
great.
of just opening myself up to the Lord. So.
Oh, that's wonderful. Your family, your mom was there, sister, brother, and some other relatives, along with some good friends and colleagues. How did their presence?
I'm happy to share it with all of them. So my nieces and nephew were not. My one niece was there, but the others were not. My brother's two girls were homecoming weekend, and so and my brother was a little upset with that, but I completely understood running a school for a number of years.
Yeah.
How important that is to teenagers. So I completely understood that. But it was great to be able to share all that with my family and my friends from past parishes and so forth.
Oh, that's great. And I was wondering, what have been some of the highlights of you've been a bishop now for 3 weeks?
Yeah.
What have been some of the highlights?
Well, there's a lot of work is being thrown at me as bishop, and what I keep hearing is, we've been without a bishop for a year, And in the back of my mind, I say, we don't have to catch up in one day, and we have plenty of time. But I get a lot of letters thrown at me to sign and all of that. But I've done a couple confirmations. So right after my ordination, I had Mass at the cathedral. So my family left Saturday, went back to Ohio. So after they left, then there's no one there anymore. So Father Tom Hennon from the cathedral invited me to say Mass at the cathedral. So I said Mass at the cathedral right after my ordination. But other than that, most of my Sundays have been at confirmations. This weekend, there's a deacon's convocation that I'm presiding at, and then there's the White Mass, which is a Mass for the medical community on Saturday morning, and then Sunday we have the Mass for 50th anniversary of marriage.
I'm going to be there for that one. I'll probably be there for both of them. Yeah.
So.
I think that's and so those are really large celebrations. So maybe that's will give you a little bit more of that that sense of the sacramental life of the church.
Yep. So.
I just wondered about that, but how many? I'm curious. How many emails do you get a day?
I get quite a bit. It's probably 50 a day, and some of them are just I'm copied on from all the offices at the diocese, letting me know what's going on. I get a lot of mail. I get a lot of reading material for national issues, things that are related to the USCCB. We have a meeting coming up in November. They meet twice a year.
Oh, that's right. That's coming right up.
Getting a lot of reading material for those sorts of things. And then there's always problems that need to be addressed that come up throughout the day.
Yes.
So.
And I'm wondering, so when does your day begin and end? Do you have a pretty regular schedule?
I get up at 5:30 every morning, and I'm probably in the office probably till about 4:30, and then usually the evenings this week I've been writing homilies for all the activities for this weekend.
Right.
So there's a lot of homily prep, which is I'm busy, but it's a different type of work than I had before.
Are you feeling like you're sort of getting into not the routine, but the rhythm of it?
I haven't found a routine or rhythm yet.
Okay.
I have to get all my thank yous out. I haven't got my thank you cards out yet. All the people who sent me well wishes prior, so I'm trying to get all those out. That's probably the thing that weighs upon me right now is just getting those
thank you notes out. So that's important to you to make sure you do
thank
you cards.
Get those out, and but
are you a big thank you card guy?
I'm not a big writer, and that's a lot of this job is writing new homilies and new things. So.
Well, you do a really nice job with it.
Thank you.
But I appreciate that. So, any other thoughts before we close this episode?
No, I just want to thank everyone for listening. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you for joining us. I'm looking forward to this.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.